Aloha and mahalo for joining me. I'm Janet and welcome to the Called to Create podcast. I am here to help you ladies unlock your creative potential and use your God-given gifts and start a business. Because you were called to create and you have so much to share, and the world needs your creative gifts to be shared right now, ladies. Let's do this. And today I wanted to talk to you about the benefits of having your own business. Now, I want to talk about this because sometimes the conversations I have with people, they always have questions or doubts that they could have a business. I've heard all kinds of things that people say when the subject of having your own business comes up. So today I just wanted to talk about some of the benefits. Like there's a lot, but I'm just going to mention a few just in case any of you, were thinking about it or you thought, "Oh no, I could never do that because of what you heard from someone else or anything like that." And this I'm talking from experience because I've had my own business for like a really long time, and then my husband has his own business that I help him do all the paperwork and all of that kind of stuff too. So we know what it's like to have businesses. And I think there's a benefit to it. And me personally, I think everyone, almost everyone, should have a business, whether it's just a small side business or a full-time business. So that's just my opinion. But from what I've seen and from all the people that I've ever talked to all these years, they have expressed the feelings like, "Oh, it's too late now, but I wish I had my own little business," and, on and on. So I want to just start off with some of the reasons and the benefits, rather, of having your own business. So, of course, I have my notebook and I always write down in the mornings my thoughts and what I want to share with you folks. So here we go. Here's some of the things. One of the first things is that you get to decide what kind of business it's going to be. For example, do you want an online business? You can decide that. Do you want an in-person business where you actually meet with people face to face? You can go out to them and meet them, like consulting, things like that. Do you want to have a physical location, also known as like brick and mortar? So do you want to have a physical building, where your business is in a storefront or a building, an office building, things like that. So those are just some of the things that you get to decide on, like what kind of business it's going to be, or the location, or how you're going to do it. And the other benefit of having your own business is that you get to decide how much you want to work. You can decide to create a part-time business that you just do on the side. Maybe you have a full-time job now, and maybe you just want to have something that you do in the evenings that gets you excited, or maybe just the weekends, where you can decide for yourself if you're going to go full-time and quit your job eventually, or just do part-time. The next benefit is that you get to choose how you're going to run your business. Now, that's not something that you normally would think about, like how you're going to run it. Normally, you just think about, "Oh my gosh, how much time is it going to take? Do I have enough money?" But this part of it is that how you're going to run it is totally up to you. You can decide that you want to run it all by yourself, whether it's going to be part-time or full-time. You can decide, are you going to hire somebody to help you? Are you going to expand eventually? How are you going to run it in that way? Are you going to have someone help you put systems in place, or all the things that you do in your business, just running the day-to-day business? You get to decide. And there is no right or wrong way, because everyone is different and everyone's business is different. So you would have different needs too. And it depends also if you are going to do it only online, or if you're going to have a physical brick and mortar space to work your business. Your needs will always be different when you have those two different kinds of businesses. Okay, and another benefit of having your own business is that you get to decide how much money you want to make. And you get to decide ultimately, like, okay, I want to make this much money. And you can figure out, okay, whatever kind of business you have, you can say, okay, I'm going to do it only part time, and this is how much I make, and this is how much I want to make. And, you'll be able to figure out like what you would have to do to make that. But ultimately, you can decide for yourself if you want to have a business that you would actually use as income to support yourself, then you would need to figure out how much that would be. Or you can decide, hey, I just want side money that I can use to just spend on whatever things I want to maybe have fun with or to travel with or whatever, right? That part time business could be like maybe you just do something small on the side just for fun and not, that you're going to need it to support yourself. So those are just some of the benefits. Like there's way more, but those are kind of like the main things that are really the most, I think, important. Because sometimes if you go to a job, you don't have control over, well, most jobs, not all jobs. Sometimes they give you flexibility, but some jobs you have to be there at a certain time and you can't leave until there's, a specific time that you're hired for. You can't leave whenever you feel like it. And even when like you want to take a vacation for your job, I've met a lot of people, and even for me when I've had a job working for someone, you can't just take a vacation anytime you want. You can't just take off when you want. You have to put in, maybe do paperwork or put in for when you want to take a vacation, and then you have to wait for someone to approve it. And then I've had people tell me that their vacations were denied, and there are certain blackout times of the year that no one in the company is allowed to take a vacation. You don't have a choice. So little things like that sometimes have a big impact on whether you're happy at your job or not, because life happens, right? And sometimes when you want to take off or you're burnt out and you just need a little break, and in some jobs you can't do that. But if you have your own business, you get to decide when you want to take a vacation, or if you get to the point where you're tired and life is just going by and you have stress in your personal life and you want to take a vacation from business and everything else, you get to decide when you can do that. But if you're working for someone else, you can't do that, right? And, I think now with everything going on, there's a little bit more flexibility. But in general, there are a lot of companies who just won't let you do that, right? They control you because they're paying you and you work for them. So this is good if you're tired of that and you want to be your own boss because it's just hard working for someone else, or the commute. Like my sister-in-law lives on the mainland, and she travels an hour and a half each way to her job, and that's without traffic. And if there's traffic or an accident, she said sometimes it has taken her 3 hours to get from her house to her job. And we just had that conversation a little over a week ago, and I thought, wow, that's crazy. Like I don't know how she does it, but you really have to love your job in order to do that every day. That's not for everyone, right? So think about these things and think about the benefits. And if you're interested in possibly having a side business or actually having a business that's full time, send me a direct message. I want to talk with you and help you. And think about it. See if having a business is right for you. But create a life that gets you excited to wake up every day. And if you're in a job that you're not happy, then think about your options. What are they? And I can help you with that as well. And please share this podcast with anyone who you know would get great value out of listening to it. Or if you know anyone that wants to start a creative business, please send this podcast their way. I would really appreciate that. And I want to ask you a favor. If you can please take a minute to rate and review this podcast. And if you're listening to this podcast in the Apple Podcast app, you can rate and review this show right there at the bottom. So as soon as you open my show, you can just scroll down all the way to the bottom and you can rate and review it right there, because reviews are so important and they tell potential listeners and Apple that this show is worth listening to. And I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And have a great day, ladies. Take care of yourself. Aloha.